This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz. I'm very excited to be speaking with Guy Nattiv about Tatami. How are you, Guy?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Good. We last spoke in August 2023, probably a few weeks before this film came out about Golda. And I was looking back at our interview and I had asked you, I said, it's a very tumultuous time right now in Israel. And you said, don't get me started. We can talk for an hour about that. And obviously, unfortunately, things have certainly not gotten better in that time. But it is interesting to see this film premiered in Venice in September 2023, but is still obviously on the festival circuit. How do you think what's going on in Israel has affected this film and the way people see it?
Wow, it's a big question. I do think that first of all, we this film was shot before October 7th. And we went to Venice. We premiered it like 3 months before October 7th. But I think that now it has even much more, there's more layers to the story of collaboration between an Iranian director and Israeli director, and how instead of boycotting each other, instead of like becoming an enemy, becoming enemies, I think that we decided to make a statement that we are not our governments. Governments are trying to separate us. I grew up in the sense that every Iranian hates me and want to kill me. And Tsar was obviously doctrinated in her own country against Israelis, against everyone that lives in Israel. She had to say death to America, death to Israel every morning when she went to school. And when I decided to open myself to Iranian talent, female talent, and make this movie, I met my family that I didn't know that exist. And so we sat on this, we went to the set and we felt like brothers and sisters. We love the same movies, we love the same food, we have the same family, kind of like the same vibe. And what they tried to tell us, well, wasn't true. So we came to this movie from love and respect to one another, and we made this movie in order to tell a story that resists the government, and tell a true story about how two people can make the unpredictable move and defy the Iranian regime, and to resist in a way.
Absolutely. No, I think that's very powerful. I know that this film is inspired in part by certain real life things. Did you consider telling a completely true story, or did you feel that wasn't as important to the narrative you wanted to make?
So it is based on real story that happened in Japan, in Tokyo in 2019, with Iranian judoka and Israeli judoka. It had the same DNA and component, but we changed it into a female Iranian kind of a protagonist, because while we were writing the script, Masa Amini murder happened, and you start to see a lot of those Iranian female athletes that are rebellious against the regime. Kimia Alizadeh, she was the Taekwondo warrior that won first silver for the Iranian regime, and basically decided to move to France to escape to Germany or France, and then a boxer that we were in touch with, and then the mountain climber that did the her competition without a hijab. And you could feel that Masa Amini sparked a nerve within the female athletes society, and we decided to make an homage to these ladies.
I remember when we spoke, you mentioned this, and I was excited because I had seen Czar in this incredible double feature of Holy Spider and Shada, which just shows such a tremendous range for such, impressive characters. And I feel like this also, for her, the on-screen part is still very different from those two. What was your experience like with her as, sharing the directing duties and then having her as one of its stars?
When I met Zar, it was after I saw Holy Spider by Ali Abbasi, and my jaw dropped. I thought that she's a brilliant performer and actress. But when I met her, I also met this amazing human being, and I offered her to co-direct and cast the movie and becoming Mariam in the movie, and being a co-producer and the whole thing. And she took a week or two to think about it, because it's a big deal to collaborate with an Israeli after after what's happening. And she decided to go for it and was very happy. But I think our collaborative process was very, very organic. We love each other, we respect each other, we have the same taste in movies, we see the same art. It was so easy to make this movie together. um, and till today we want to find another project to work on. um it was amazing. Not only her, she brought her team to, and a lot of Iranian actors that I fell in love with. And it was just an amazing collaborative process.
And I will admit, I wanted to see the film, and the two of you were the draw that I didn't even bother to look who was in it. And about halfway through, I was like, that looks a lot like Ariane Mandy, but this is some Iranian actress, I've never met before. I didn't realize because I had seen the L Word Generation Q, and obviously
Right.
this is a very
Right.
different part. Where had you also seen that, and what was the process of casting her in this part?
Ariane Mendy is a brilliant actress and an amazing human being, and she auditioned for the role, and her audition was amazing. I also knew that she's a boxer herself. She's very physical. Um, and both Zar and I felt that she was the one that we want to have as the lead. She only had half a year to learn judo from scratch here in Los Angeles. Um, and she competed in the film. All the judo fighters that you saw are real judo fighters from Ukraine, from Georgia, from Germany. And she gave them a fight. She did the impossible. She's an amazing talent. I also saw her on the L Word. Um, and she's gonna be a big star. Her future is really bright, and rightly so. She's just an amazing actress.
It's great to hear about the participation of so many international athletes. What kind of obstacles did you have to getting this made? Because for precisely the same reason of what happens in the film.
I think that we had to be very careful because we shot it in Georgia, Tbilisi, Georgia. I think that we be very careful because 2 weeks before we shot the movie, the Mossad just got a kind of a hit squad from Iran trying to kill an Israeli businessman, and we knew that Tsar had, the Iranian regime is looking for her as well because of what she's been through. So we had to be very careful. We just spread all the crew in different hotels, and we didn't speak Hebrew or Farsi. We spoke only English. We called the project on different names. It was really like we had bodyguards around the stadium. We really needed to keep it low profile. Nobody knew about this project. Nobody knew that it happens. We didn't announce it on any trade. Um, and we shot it in the winter. And yeah, that was really, really like one of those things that I got a phone call from the American embassy because I live in America right now, and that told me you got to be really careful. Zar got a phone call from the French embassy that told her you got to be really careful. So it was a really sensitive shooting. But after that, I mean, we were all over the world with the movie, and we had the joy of being together as an Israeli and Iranian in France, in Japan. We just came back from Germany from the Peace Award, so we're very proud of this movie that we created together as a team.
Have you encountered resistance from those who don't want to watch the film because they don't understand the message that it's trying, or they don't appreciate the message it's trying to put out?
There'll always be haters. Usually the ones that are responding like under different names and kind of feedbacks on but the majority of what we got, especially from women around the world, that felt that in Italy we felt very, very strong the female reaction and the young generation that feel that instead of boycotting each other, we need to collaborate, and it gives a voice to females not only in Iran, all over the world. And I think that a lot of people felt that the resistance um, is in terms of art, art as a form of resistance is the right way to go and not violence. And that's what we do. All our energy and frustration goes into our art and not into weapons.
And you're showing at the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival. What is it like to be there with the film?
Well, I didn't go, but I got some amazing responses from there. But yeah, it's opening in Japan, in Tokyo, in 1 week. It was a big success in France, in Paris. It was, got 200,000 people saw the movie, and we got some amazing response. I mean, it's just, you never know. When you make a movie, you never know how this. It's almost like whatever it takes you, it takes you. But this one is very special for us. It's really special, and I think the smartest decision I make was to open myself to collaboration with Iranian talent. um I couldn't do this film alone. It's not right.
Absolutely. No, it's great to hear about all these positive responses. Has anything really surprised you? Just what people have said specifically?
Yeah, I mean, look, it touched people on a human level, I think, and the fact that these women or someone who's only represent the country fights against the regime and stands still in front of all those threats, and you see them more and more. The world becomes more totalitarian. The regime become more extreme, and the people lose their power to express themselves, to do what they think is right. But in this film, she has the courage, and it's the new generation, right? Right, because the coach is the kind of like another generation. She says enough is enough. I'm not gonna stand for that regime, and the decision is mine. I'm the athlete. I want to get the gold. I'm gonna go for it. And she's paying a heavy price. And that was Saeed Mulai from the from 2019. He paid a big price for that, and he cannot go back to Iran. He lost contact with his family. So I think it's an homage to the people that are really stand in front of this extreme regime and say enough is enough.
I always like to ask people I talk to, what have you seen recently that's really impressing you? And I'm curious if you've seen other examples of collaboration like this or, resistance to tyranny and oppression that have really sort of stuck with you.
Yeah, first of all, there's an amazing documentary right now, No Other Land, which is a collaboration between an Israeli and a Palestinian. It is showing how the Israeli government are brutal in the West Bank, but it's a film about friendship between these two. So for me, it's more about friendship between them and a great collaboration. A film that really was one of my favorite this year was The Brutalist, and it's another way of showing a man versus the you know the society, the American society, and not giving up on himself and on his identity as an artist. So for me, I saw my grandfather in this movie because he was this guy. Um, and I loved every second of it. I think it's a poetic, beautiful, deep, and sincere movie. But there were a lot of films this year that really, really. Another one is I'm Still Here, the Brazilian, a woman against the government. Again, that was another theme that reminded me of what I'm trying to do.
You also mentioned last time we spoke that were working on a film called Harmonia about your grandmother. What's the latest with that? What's happening with the film?
So we're shooting it this year with an amazing cast that I cannot disclose right now, but it's my most personal movie and with amazing actresses. I'm very proud of it, and I can't wait to start. It's really my most. I never shot such a personal movie about my family, about my grandmother, about what she went through, about the discussion of like what is post trauma, how you deal with post trauma, what is your family, is the family that you grew up with, is the real family that you need to, or the alternative family. And it's about mothers and daughters, and the mother who tells her daughter, listen, I'm gonna take care of myself now. I gave you 40 years of my life, now it's me. And the daughters who tells her, no, you gotta stay my mom, you gotta be my mom, you cannot go anywhere. And it's just a very, very hard yet soulful journey that my grandmother went through.
Oh, I wish you plenty of luck with that. Look forward to seeing that, and
Thank
I
you.
hope that Tatami has a great rest of its run at the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival and beyond.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.